Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to our very first Ask Bill session. So this is week 1. I am really excited to be here, so let's jump into it. Okay, so this is Ask Bill. Again, if you have a question, send it to Bill Dow at dowpublishingllc.com or just come up to my Facebook page and ask me the question there. I'll compile it and I will put it into one of these series in one of these weeks. So thank you all for joining and let's jump. So the first question we have is, how do I get started in project management? I get this question all the time, and I love this question because it's people that are really asking about how do I break through the field and how do I get into the field. So I've been teaching for many years across 2 different countries actually, and this question, and I teach a project management class, and this question comes up a lot. And basically what I say is really look for project coordinator roles or junior project manager roles. Also look for that tactical experience. And so I think it's really important to actually know what project management is, know the phases of project management. I think it's important to get training. So go to your local college, go to your local trade school, get some online classes, but really understand what the functions and really what project management is and what the methodology looks like. Then what I would say is try to get some experience. Go to some nonprofits and manage some projects there, and really try to understand how this works and how it works in a real life environment. And so getting that hands-on experience. I also think if you're brand new, you should go to PMI and get the CAPM. If you've got enough experience but you're brand new, you can get your PMP. But I think PMI gives you that great foundation and that great basis. Get the PMBOK, get the latest edition, understand that PMBOK inside and out. But really that's going to help you get that foundation. Then from a job front, look for project coordinator jobs. Look for junior project manager jobs. As a project coordinator, you'll work alongside a project manager. They'll have you doing risks and issues and minutes and action items, but really get you up and running in that project management world. So these are some of the things that I would do to really help you become a project manager and get you started in the project management world. What is the most complicated aspects of managing a project? I get this question all the time. A lot of my mentees ask me that question. My customers at Dow Publishing ask me this. This specifically came from a Facebook group that I'm actively on in project management. And I think it always comes down to communications and people. Right? I wrote 2 books on communications. It's that important. But really, it's about interpersonal skills and influence without authority. So as a project manager, you are often not in the position to be the functional manager of your resources. So you've got developers, you've got testers, and a software example, for example, and you're not their functional manager. You're not their hire and fire manager. And because of that, you're in a position where you're really going to have to influence them without authority, without direct authority. And so it comes down to people. It comes down to interrelational skills. So how you connect with people, how you can really work with them and connect with them and help drive and execute your project. So I think the most complicated aspect of managing a project is your people management skills and the communications that comes along with that. Number 3, what is the least I can do to manage a project to be successful? Well, that's kind of a loaded question, right? And so I'll give you an example. I have a very close friend of mine who's managing 15 or 16 projects right now. 15 or 16 projects. And so when he and I have coffee and we have lunch and we talk about it, I said, John, John specifically, how do you possibly manage that many? And he's like, I can do the very least possible, right? What's the least I can do? And so that's running minutes, running action items, keeping the weekly status report up, the weekly status meeting going, right? Just the minimum to keep the ball running, because across 15, 16 projects, that's really almost impossible to do and to do successfully. Now, the other aspect of that question, and this is why I think that's a loaded question, is people just want to actually do the least amount of possible. And so, when you think about that and you're just trying to really do the bare minimum, you're really not doing the best that you can for the project. So I struggle with that from really two aspects. One, when a person has 15 or 16 projects, that's way too much. There's no possible way they can be successful. And the second is, hey, what's the minimum I can do? Because I just simply don't want to do these project management tasks. Well, again, it's really hard to give a complete list, right? That's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to your PMO manager, your actual functional manager. But keep the weekly status meetings going. Keep the weekly status reports. Do your action items. Do your minutes. Do your schedule. Make sure you're checking risks and issues. But keep the very basic aspects of project management going, and I think you'll be successful. But again, that's a loaded question from both aspects of that. Number 4, how important are lessons learned on a project? When I click them at the end of the project, most people have moved on and don't care. Source, yeah, one of my Dow Publishing customers asked me that. 100% do not collect lessons learned at the end of the project. It's useless. Okay? What you want to do is you want to collect lessons learned throughout the life of the project. The only reason you collect lessons learned is for course correction. People are working on 5, 6, 7, 8 projects. The time that you finish a project and you call this big grandiose meeting to say, hey, let's go over the lessons learned, people are long gone. Especially on 18-month, 2-year, longer projects. People are working on 5, 6 projects right now. They don't care about your projects that you're already implemented. So collecting lessons learned, you have to do it from the very start of the project to the very end of the project. And you can collect it and you can collect the information, but it's really about course correction. It's really about fixing things along the way and making the project the most successful. And I think it's really, really important to do that and make sure you course correct along the way so you're constantly driving a successful project compared to let's just store the information, and then have this big meeting that no one's going to care about. So really, really important. Collect lessons learned along the way because you're right. They've moved on and they don't care. So course correction is my highly recommended way of doing lessons learned. I do it all the time. Number 5, how valuable is a project manager certification? It's huge. As a hiring manager, I've been a hiring manager for many, many years, over 19 years actually. And basically, I say it's huge because what I look for is that common language. Right? I have a story where a friend of mine just built a nuclear plant. And again, his name was John. Just coincidentally, his name was John. And I said to John, I said many, many years ago, I said, John, you just built a nuclear plant. And literally, he was the project manager on a nuclear plant. True story. And I said, but you don't have your PMP. And he goes, I just built a nuclear plant, Bill. And I went, yeah, exactly. I get it. But what happens is, and we're not all building nuclear plants. And what this certification is going to do, PMI certification, the CAPN, the PMP, what it's going to do is it's going to give you that foundation. We can say risk management, we can say issue management, we can say communication management, and we've got that common language, right? And I think that's a huge aspect of it. Also, there's so much goodness in getting that certification. It just gives you that next level of knowledge from a PMI perspective and a project management perspective. So PMI is huge here. I know in England, Prince is big. Lots of different methodologies. I get that. I think project manager certification across the board is really, really important, and it's just going to help you be an overall better project manager. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for going through the 5 questions with me. Please send me an email, askbill@dowpublishingllc.com, or see me on Facebook. Thank you all, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.